Hello and greetings to you, Adelina. I am Umblam of the Arcturian Council. You know my energy well, but it's very nice to be here with you this day.
Hello, my star brother Umblam. I'm so happy to be in your presence.
Well, I'm blessed for this co-creation too, sweet star sister Adelina. It is wonderful to know that, well, you also anticipated this exchange because you also felt the resonance of the co-creation taking place, echoing back to you from this point that's coming and into your sense of, well, what was to come, that thing you call intuition. So it's wonderful to be here with you. My love to you, as well as the unconditional love of the entire Arcturian Council.
Wow, my love, back to you, all of you. What my lovely Listine is doing. My
Yes,
counterpart.
yes. Could you repeat her name or the vibration that she's associated to it?
Last time you said her name is Listine.
Yes. Well, it's nice to get a handle on these things. There are so many of these creatures fluttering around in your energy field. Though this one, well, she's having the experience of, yes, this is beautiful. Well, what the energy she's attached to now is doing is it's sort of moving upward. It's cleaning the tethers that bind us to the 10th dimension. So it's in a sense making ready for that jump upwards where we become, you could say, more ideal, more static in our expression. And that's something she's moving towards. It's a higher degree of crystallization than the one that you are previously as such capable of resonating with, but you can come close when you envision things in your dreams or in your visionary states. So these are things that she's very excited about doing, and that's the resonance pattern that's coming forward right now. It's a very high vibrational version of her because it's the version of you that you are connecting to and attaching to. And so we don't sense that you have been having so many interactions, but it is also because, well, you have quite a big star family. And so there are a lot of other entities that are happy to connect to you and share their wisdom and, let us say, intertwine their energies with yours.
Yes, as you said, I feel a bunch of creatures flying around my energy field, so I can hardly catch who and when is it, but I'm happy to interact with all of you. So my love to all of you, and thank you for all the support and wisdom and guidance that you providing us, all of us, because I know you helping each and every one person on the earth right now.
Yes, we certainly are, and you're being assisted by a lot of the other members of the Galactic Alliance. So the idea that where you are residing at present, where you are residing is a place where you are very much sheltered from a lot of these things. So in a sense, you could also sense the idea of, yes, the strings of the tethers that bind you upwards into the higher fifth dimensional experience, the thing that you are coming into. You are very much being sheltered. So we have this idea of it's sort of a blue Pleiadian dragon energy. And we do believe that you have had some exchanges with these energies recently, but it's interesting because it's coming forward from this, well, council of 12 of Pleiadian dragons that, well, this vessel is yet to communicate with, but that is deeply invested in your expansion. So there's a lot of Pleiadian energy around you. And that is for the same reason that you can say we Arcturians and the patterns we have that are connected to you. well, they come closer to these higher dimensional expressions at the moment. And so it's also a question for us to you, dear friends. So, who would you like to connect to? Are there places you would like to go exploring? And we are also happy to transmit messages or bring in energies from these different counterparts and guides of yours.
So I will be briefly telling you what I'm doing recently and what type of guidance I would like to have, and maybe you will take from this from there.
Yes, that sounds like a beautiful way to progress, dear Star Sister.
Great, thank you. So recently, past few months, I've been following my excitement to the best of my ability with no insistence of the outcome. And I'm staying in the positive state no matter what's happening. And this lead me to creating a beautiful podcast for my Bulgarian people, that we can provide a wisdom or a tips how can they live their life in more positive way. And because I've noticed even in my close circle that people are struggling with panic attacks, mental issues, and this start to be like a topic for the year, I would like to have some tips and guidance from you. How can we assist these people by permission slips or any other exercises so that we can provide them easy transition or passing through this eye of the needle period that we need to become more of ourselves?
Yes, it's a very good question, and it's a very conscientious question. So it's informed by an attitude that shows that you are already doing the right thing. So and therefore it can help you to simply rely that what you are providing is enough, because you are moving, progressing very far along that pattern of the idea of, well, following the excitement principle, really cooking your life after that formula, and tasting the goodies of it, because that's the other part of it, is you can actually allow yourself to taste the goodies of it. So you are in a place where, well, do not take it the wrong way, but you are in a sense marketing joy. You are you are putting the idea forward, and you are creating something from it that has value both to you and to others, but you're putting the idea forward that it's actually possible to live a happy life. And therefore, when you follow this thing, it is completely true that you should have no expectation of the outcome, but it is worth to note that the outcome in itself can actually be quite subtle and at the same time quite sweet. And so if you do some of this, so if you actually focus on, well, the fact that there were perhaps people who were touched by this message, and it's difficult to know how this message may reach them or may be interpreted, or how much they may absorb from it, or how much may follow a type of time release pattern where all of a sudden they realize different nuances or aspects of it later on, or that realization begins to affect other people, or they begin to transmit that knowledge. So the simple fact that you are sharing these things and they are of that high vibration, know that, well, that vibration, frequency, it also functions as a type of purging for you. So you're actually also changing. And so what you can do is you can allow yourself to ease up and be happy. And again, it may seem like ridiculous advice in facing, well, panic attacks and traumas coming up and hardships and adversities that, well, some exist in this moment and to this day, and others are in the past and accumulated pain, maybe from generations and generations and from lifetimes and for lifetimes. But it is in the allowance of, well, the joyfulness of being that you actually cure these things. And it is in these small moments where you are engaged or in the flow state that, well, you don't even necessarily take note of them. But when you are not in them, then try to recall that these have become, well, more plentiful in your lifetime. So there are more beautiful things where you where you bring in, well, these creations, and in that sense you blow the breath of God into them, you blow the breath of creation into this thing, and then, well, it begins to live its own life, and that you can't predict, but you can really take joy in doing it. And you're very good at this, so it's just, we really sense a great energetic change, sort of, yeah, we would almost say it's it's a spiraling out from you, this type of energy that you're becoming shielded, and then slowly but surely it's growing and spiraling outwards and also touching other people.
So you mean by just be a living example, it's going to be enough, and just providing my energy, it's going to be helpful enough for people who are struggling with mental issues?
Exactly. It is much better. And remember always to also protect your boundaries in this. So, well, your energy is not something that someone can just deplete of you if you are connected to eternal source energy. But no human being is always eternally connected to eternal source energy, and therefore there will also be, it will be necessary for you to also sometimes shield your energies in positive ways. And 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 that's also something that you need to allow yourself to do. But you are completely correct when you point to the fact that it is example, because you may, for instance, know that expression that what you resist persists, or what
Mm.
you, yes, what you resist persists. And that's the idea that when you delve too much into this type of negative energy from the perspective of matching it where it is, by taking it seriously and by taking the suffering of someone seriously, it can actually be helpful to them to, well, strengthen the bond that tie you together, but not, well, pull that negative energy from that person into your experience, because that will just, you could say, be not be helpful for the both of you. So yes, and we know it can, to people who are kind-hearted, it can seem very selfish that our advice is to, well, take better care of yourself. But that's really the way that you change the world, because you create much more vibrational space for then those other people to live into, and to actually drop off their own loads and come into that high vibration with you.
Yes, I agree, my star brother. This is my intention, and this is what I'm doing daily in my podcast, especially giving the people the knowledge that they don't have to suffer, that they don't have to be in this position, that they have another choice. I try to provide them a different point of view, so can they choose for themselves if they want to match this energy and this vibration. I cannot do it for themselves. They need to choose it for them. And this is something that Mother Nature is helping me when I need to charge my batteries. I go out and I spend time with her, and I feel more and more productive. So people, I know that we've been going through this time for a purpose. Nothing is by accident. And facing our fears, because now it's more than ever, people are feeling afraid from everything. But by according my humble opinion, you can never release something you don't know exists. So by showing all these fears into our conscious light, we are able to see them and to release them and not buy them anymore. So I would like to take this moment to tell to people who are watching this, you don't have to be afraid. Or even if you are afraid, you don't have to be any more afraid. See that this is an illusion, and this is a calling for you, that you have a resistance somewhere in your life, and it's a moment for you to release it and to become more and more of yourself. And you're not alone. We are all here together, and my love to you. And my love to all of you Arcturians, that you are here with us, assisting us with wisdom and endless love, unconditional love. So, because I know being in that place, it's hardly for you to see how you can go out from this tunnel. Let's say, let's use this word. If you're going in if you're in the dark place and someone is speaking to you about how beautiful is the light, you will tell them this word with 3-4 letters, and you not gonna listen to him. So I know we need to be more compassionate to each other, but I really need your advice about some permission slip. How can we provide these people something that they can use it, like exercises or anything that can be easy implemented and understand by a person who is in this uh, small focus point of view or place of being at this moment in time?
Exactly. It's a very good question, beloved Star Sister. And there is no place we would rather be than here, also assisting in the ascension of mankind. We have a great much love for your kind, and we also have a lot, let us say, of wonder, interest, curiosity invested in the progress of your race, and we're very proud of where you are going. Because notice your kind heart and your wisdom in unfolding this situation. It's exactly the dilemma that, well, these people find themselves in a place where it would actually be confrontational to confront them with that type of positivity and say, hey, listen, I have figured out that this is, well, basically all just a game, and you create your own reality, and that there's really nothing to be afraid of, because essentially, well, what's going on right now is a mask we take on and off, and we're all trying to do our best in accordance with the level of consciousness and understanding we have. And when that changes, our reality changes, and we get to have a lot of interesting and exciting experiences while we're here. That is a bit big middle finger to people who, well, are struggling with
Exactly.
the purpose of being, with the value of getting up in the morning, with even taking the next breath. And that's very hard. But what you can do and what's helpful is that short, well, there's always the value of listening, but listening can become hard if you, well, are not very skilled in also not taking in the energy. So a lot of empathic people, such as yourself, they will also have the tendency sometimes to, when they have to listen to a real curmudgeon or a sourpuss, or someone who's a misanthrope. There are different types of expressions or words for the same, the person who is like Eeyore in Winnie the Pooh, and who just really can't see the bright side in anything and the value of anything. it
Exactly.
it's also important that you, well, if you're not capable of shielding your energy, then limit how much you take in of that. But you can simply offer that thing there where you say, yeah, well, I know it's hard. Well, it because it's just, I understand you're going through a hard time. It's understandable that you would be going through a hard time with the things you're telling me. And of course, when you know the person, you can say it more accurately. But the simple acknowledgement, just that it's all right that you're not feeling all right, and I also don't feel all right sometimes. and then perhaps add something innocuous that's not too preachy. Sometimes like, well, when I really feel down, I just sometimes go for a walk in nature, and that actually makes me feel a little better. Or I try to turn off all my television screens and everything, and then just sit down and breathe and feel where it hurts, and ask myself about it. Maybe take some notes or a diary. Some of those small tips can actually be helpful, even though you don't need the person's acknowledgement that they're valuable. It's just that they get the idea that, okay, these are things that work for other people, and there are, exactly as you beautifully point to, a lot of other people going through the same experience, because no one's the odd man out when they're feeling out of sorts. And also it's hard to know what they're catapulting into. So what is the positive counter experience that they could possibly have to that negative thing which is playing itself out right now?
Mm. Yeah, because this morning I had in my company a dear person of mine, so she needed a ride to the nearest town, and she told me that she's having a troubles and issues with her fingers or her toes on her legs. So they start to be non-sensitive anymore. And I told her, this, you put too much pressure on yourself. You need to listen to your body. Your body is telling you. So if something is not right, just observe and be aware that the stress, the fear, and all of these things that you are holding on to can make you really ill, sick, and unhappy. But if you choose not to go this way and to choose your body as a guide, your physical reality as a mirror to showing you where are you on the path of becoming yourself, I think it's going to be much more easier for you if you switch this point of view and look yourself as in mirror and to see, oh, I'm not smiling now. So it's logical that the mirror is not smiling back to me. I need to smile a little first so can have a mirror expression of smile. And I know how hard it is to tell. And I've noticed people struggling, but still I cannot reach everybody. And as you said, start to feeling overwhelmed when I work one-to-one with people as I'm a psychologist and a life coach. That's why I follow my intuition and start doing this podcast and videos like for a broader people, for a broader public, so there can be more and more people involved and listen to these messages and to be able to choose for themselves if they want to go on this road with me, along me, or following their excitement as I'm doing, following mine. So the nature is really, yes, helpful in this matter. So go in nature as much as you can. This is my advice.
Yes, it's very, very good broad universal advice, because notice that your movement into the higher dimensions is partially, of course, a movement into, well, the finer, subtler realms of reality, the realms of reality that are, well, non-sequential, and where you can also shift from, well, different realities and manifestations and timelines quite quickly. But it's also a movement back into nature, because that energy, well, your planet actually wants to facilitate it. So it has been, you could say, quite a sacrifice for Mother Earth to have dropped off both in, well, temperature and frequency for some time, to accommodate humankind in this experience. And she's in a way dying to, will reunite and reconfigure her energy with human consciousness. So you will become far more powerful manifestors in that sense, also by connecting to nature, because it's here that, well, the clarity, the readjustment of your pure energy takes place, and you simply can't be around a grove of aging beautiful trees without, well, having your vibration just slightly altered by that. So that's a thing that's a very helpful advice as you point to. But it's worth noting that you are completely right that you can't change everybody, and it's so helpful that you will also know that in your well these sessions know that well you actually provide a lot of energy, so look at your positive side of the equation, and then notice how that energy also serves other people best, because what they often want is a type of, let us use the analogy of a jump start in with battery cables. So they just need that little spark to get the engine running themselves, and then they begin following their excitement, and they have the opportunity as soon as you have shown them that there is these battery cables. But you are of course right that once you have, for instance, in you mentioned this example, once you have manifested a situation where well you feel numb in your fingers and your toes, and we sense it is, to use that expression, more of a software than a hardware issue. So she's physically healthy, but her blood pressure has increased because she's picking up, she's picking up the collective fear energies and then amplifying them into her body. And then when she doesn't listen and step back, then the reaction becomes more hypertension, more cutting off of the circulation, which leads to, further symptoms and further anxiety. And that's why you're completely right. And the lesson is often to step back. So do the opposite of what you have been doing if you feel that you are having adverse experiences around something.
Yes, and I told her, do you feel any better by doing this? No. Okay, why you continue this path and this way if you notice that you're going in the hole? Why you continue go there? So you don't see it, I see it. So why? Why you choose? Why you think what you think you're gaining, what you think you're having from this experience? And her husband is in hospital today because he's having another issue. So both of them are having physical issues, and she's overwhelmed as she's aware person. She's not like someone who is more in the physical world. She know about the exchange, and she said, your energy is really helping me. But yes, but it's something that you need to do it. I told her, okay, we live close to each other. Let's go every day for a walk. I don't have 10 minutes for me. What? You cannot have 10 minutes, 50 minutes for yourself. How do you think you can benefit anyone if you're not well, if you don't take care of yourself first? So even it sounds so selfish, it's not. It's selfish not to take care of yourself and to provide breadcrumbs to other people, because this is what you can offer. If you're not full, if you're not healthy, if you're not good enough for yourself, you don't offer any good for anybody, even if you're for children. So yes,
You are quite right, and we will let you sit with that for 2 seconds as we accommodate this vessel and open his eyes and have a sip of that
yeah,
wonderful liquid you have down here.
yeah, and me too. Cheers. Thank you to this beautiful vessel, this lovely male that providing me this space so we can be beneficial to people, to help them realize that this is really important time and we need to stick together and we need to help each other. Even if we had the opposite experience last year, to self-isolate, to stay away, I think now we need to go to the other way, to help each
Yes,
other, to remember that we are one.
because notice that is the energy rising, and I can inform this also as a collective reading for those people who are tuning into this now, that this is the energy rising of a higher degree of collectivity, and this sensation of separation that has gone on so long and has also brought you into well, your own sensitivities. So the sense that, well, you have also become a little fickle or thin-skinned because you have not been able to wear it up against other people, against the friction of social life. And we mean this both literally and metaphorically, that's the idea that you are, well, also manifesting a counter experience to a lot of the voluntary collectivism that you will see humanity moving into. And that's a part of the positive experience. And then also, dear Adelina, Star Sister, we remind you to heed your own advice, because this wisdom is in your heart. And even though it's very neat that we come from a higher dimension, I'm coming to you from the ninth dimension with the rest of the Arcturian Council, and we can build intergalactic starships and healing chambers and work in all kinds of planes of existences that you would find unfathomable. But we are essentially also a mirror to, well, all the wisdom that lies within you. And there you sense that idea that, well, what you're looking for is also the acknowledgement for yourself, the allowance for yourself to, well, abide in the work you do and know that it's enough, because you can't. It's more important that you then, if you have, well, we believe it's the Tao Te Ching, which says that in enjoy your work, then step back, the only path to serenity. So the idea that when you are following the excitement principle, and you are bringing something forward like your podcast, and you have done this and you have communicated it and you have put it forward, and then it's better for you to step back and then find that balance of emptiness, we could say, rather than feel that there is more you should be doing. And it's a very noble sentiment, and it's very common among light workers. But you serve exactly by, well, not breadcrumbing yourself, exactly by giving yourself a full meal when you need one.
You know what I've noticed today, and it hits me like a lightning. A few days ago, I had a session with the same beautiful male, but Pleiadians came through him. And I spoke with them about my sugar addiction. And they told me to eat sugar because it's sweet. And today I said, why I have this resentment towards myself? I need to enjoy everything, every step of the way, even food, even overweight, even sugary thing, even carb thing, everything, because it's here for me to serve me. And of course, balance in the balance and a healthy way, not to overeat or over drink or whatever. But still, I said, okay, I'm not gonna push this resentment towards myself anymore, because I love myself and I don't want to create this negative energy within me. I don't want to have any persistence, any insistence, anything. Just go with the flow. If I want to eat sugar, I will eat, of course, not all chocolate, but half of it. So we need to be balanced. So thank you for the wisdom, and I'm sure that someone was assisting me in this insight that I had, but it's really helpful for me that I need to stop criticizing myself, because this is not self-love. And it's one more negative belief about myself that I've discovered today, and I release it with love. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Star Sister, because this is a beautiful example of, you, we could say, some of the benefits of also becoming multidimensional. And that's the idea that you are also then operating within a more intuitive or empathetic sense of what reality actually is and how to manage your life, because in a sense emotion relies on that type of paradox, that when you then accept that, yes, okay, I'll just eat the sugar when I'm called to it, you will actually feel less called to it on negative occasions. And there are occasions where it will be your higher self who has guided you to make or carry out this type of behavior. And notice that there are often and this goes for you, but also for general advice regarding vices of all sorts, that there is usually, well, when you go into, let us say, losing control of these states, there is usually a type of parameter that keeps you alive. So maybe if you are a type of person who has trouble with alcohol, you don't necessarily, well, drink yourself to death, but you drink steadily to a place where you sort of feel it changing your life negatively, and this can go for everything, but then you're sort of regulated by that negative experience, and that's a in a sense, from our perspective, a very healthy way to play the game of life versus, let us say, extremities or losing yourself. And we just sense this very clear, strong, again, shell-like energy of blue Pleiadian light surrounding you, and it can be knowledgeable, or necessary for you to know that, well, this process is also taking up quite a lot of nourishment for you to generate these energetic changes. And so we sense you have probably also been called to eat far more protein, for,
Yes.
yes.
I have this in mind, so I buy myself a vegan protein packet, so I can, let's say, use it for a breakfast and then have some other meal to be in the more protein, or use tofu, or use beans, or different kinds of plants that can provide me more and more protein. Wow. Yes. Thank you, Pleiadians. Thank you, everybody. So I love you. I feel you. It's good. So happy to be here now in these interesting times. Yesterday, I was thinking that this is the more exciting times in history of humankind, maybe. And I would like to be alive 80 more years, let's say, if
Yes.
my body allows it. So I'll be happy to be a witness of more and more positive changes on Earth than to use the reincarnation and start all over again. So if I have this free will, I want to live more, because I see people, they don't want to live. They say, oh, I won't die. They have more suicidal thoughts than ever because of these mental issues that I was starting asking you for advice, because people don't see any meaning of their lives, but yet the life itself is the meaning. You don't have to attach anything else just to be alive. Just be alive. Life is supposed to be lived by you because it's a gift. Yeah, can you speak to us more about this, about the life itself as a gift, and if you can add people who are struggling with receiving, please, because this is another issue that I'm encountering, receiving help and gifts and anything. Thank you.
Yes. There are so many beautiful points to attach to, well, the love you bring forward here, and the wonderful perspectives that you share. See, we could partially draw the patterns that, well, you will be offered to be here quite a long time. You are in quite perfect timing with your development, but also the paradox is that, well, humankind still hasn't scientifically cracked the mystery of why it is that you seem to get older and older, but it's also that you are beginning to vibrate at different vibrational frequencies. And therefore, well, even as we could say, all your cells are moving faster, you are actually shortening your life at a slower pace. And this means that, well, you will have the opportunity to, well, be here and have fun throughout this century. And this century is a very exciting place to be. So you can start playing around in it, but it will be in many different roles and many different perspectives that you have the opportunity to be here and to see this ascension program too. or program to um, see this ascension program through, is what we wanted to communicate to you. And then you see this problem of people, well, losing meaning in their life, not feeling that there's any purpose to their existence. We know it's a general malaise, and it's problematic. And so notice that what usually happens when people are in this state is that they will materialize crises until things break away, until they come into, let us say, the raw nerve endings of reality of their own personality. And that's when life sort of hurts. And that's something that humankind has done collectively, because a lot of you have also materialized this experience of pointlessness. And so notice then the return of nature, and that you have also brought your planet to such a point of suffering that you need to somehow, well, alleviate the suffering that you have, well, manifested outside on your planet. You need to alleviate that suffering by bringing it back to, in connection with the planet and your connection to it. And that will alleviate it. That will essentially be the only thing that can alleviate it. It's people finding a purpose in the thing that they do with their lives and the choices that they make. And so it is true that every one of these negative experiences of people, well, feeling copped out, or like they can't take anymore, or depressed, or suicidal, or deeply anxious, or, well, all these types of, well, yes, sufferings of the spirit, well, it's always a contrast experience. It's always an opportunity to burn karma, either in this lifetime or the next, and then go onwards to something that's more positive. But as humankind is changing frequency generally into something that's becoming visibly more and more positive, slightly more and more positive, even at top, as you are clearing out all this paranoia and all these things from the collective body by living it and manifesting it, well, a lot of these spirits will go other places to materialize other experiences that they can have of a, let us say, lower vibrational spectrum, where these negative feelings will subside. And then you, our dear friend, well, as you point to, because you would love to come back, you get to come back. It's going to be that kind of planet and that kind of earth as we move forward. And that as you begin checking in again from, in different lifetimes approaching the end of this century, you will also in those lifetimes have a far easier time recollection what you have been up to in other lifetime experiences. And that's already beginning for you and for others.
Wow, so you're saying that we are, as a collective, doing well in this ascension process?
Yes, yes, it's going quite well, but notice both in your individual process and in the collective process naturally, well, all that was darkness must come into light. And so that idea is that it's coming up in a lot of people, but it's being purged far faster than you would have, well, imagined was possible, let us say 3 years ago. And so imagine other events that might occur that would trigger this thing, because now you also have the reference point of having come into, well, running, let us say, your economies and your systems on other priorities than base profit and more collectivist principles. And this will begin also a tide of, let us say, stemming the tide of private interest, and then beginning to shift into a type of, let us say, organization that takes into account basic human needs and the need to generate security in systems that you arrange for human beings. So yes, even with these people who are having private negative experience, they are, their misery is attributing to the ascension of humankind.
So I'm bombarded with so many insights. My head is exploding, maybe because I'm interacting with your energy, but I'm like boom, 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 boom. I just see now different why all this thing is happening, why we are called to go even in the darkest places, just to use it as a stepping point, as a trampoline to go in the opposite direction. Like as Bashar said, and uses this analogy for the rubber band, if you pull it in the one direction, if you let it go, it's gonna lead you in the far more ahead. So yes, don't feed the fears. This is something else that came up. And because we are running out of time, I would like to ask you to give humanity, as you're reading our energy as a collective at this moment, as we're speaking, to give us a, let's say, a prediction for looking for a better world, uh, about how, what should we aiming for, not expecting, but where to focus our attention in the next 6 months for this year 2021, and to, so can we manifest more benefits, more positive changes in our life. Thank you.
Yes, what a beautiful question, Star Sister Adelina, because there is, from our perspective, of course, much you can do, and what you can do is turn your question or your attention towards, well, yes, questioning anything that you feel doesn't benefit you, and then loving yourself enough to imagining a more positive timeline. So the idea that you would feel within your heart the opportunity for you to actually move into this coming era and these coming stages of time, these developments, with your own contribution to what your life can be, and then notice that it is, and we believe we were in this image before, that you are in a sense using, well, the oven of life to bake your intentions. So that idea that you actually, you cook your life with positive intentions, and know that you can move into this reconfiguration with a lot of positivity. And with positivity, we don't necessarily mean that you need to be nice to everybody, and there will naturally always be things that you are, well, opposed to, even either on a personal level, that you simply don't, well, prefer the taste of onions much, or you like red, in
Garlic.
comparison garlic, for instance. Yes, exactly. There are these things which are perfectly okay to not like, but we can use that as an image to also, well, find that, be tolerant, understand that, well, it's good that, the world is a rich brocade of things that are different from you. And when you find ways into positivity, well, people will feel the enjoyment of following that as a beacon. And that simply means inspirationally, you will touch people wherever you go, whether that's down for shopping for onions or garlic, or avoiding either one of the other. It's good to know that, well, the richest possible thing you could be was to have one of everything. Then you wouldn't need or miss anything. And that's exactly what the universe has chosen to have. It's chosen to have one of everything. And so, since it's chosen to have one of you, allow that you to be the type of flowering that you as a universe would enjoy to witness. And that's listening to your heart and letting that glow. So it's a universal advice, but it's more important now and in this year than ever before, that you know that these fear games, they are an illusion that you are in a sense subscribing to. And what would happen if you shut off that information and connect it to, well, the siren song within you that's calling you to the paradise that you have already tended to, and that's ready for you to come home. So that is some of the advice that I would point to our dearest beloved Adelina, and we are so very happy that you allowed us to bring forward that energy to you and the human collective, that message of solace and hope, of love and comfort.
Yes, thank you for providing it, because I think our people need more than ever. So if I can add to this beautiful message, a short one for myself: acknowledge that everything is a choice, and you can always go back to the direction and just go in that direction. And this is so simple, really.
Or did we lose you, Adelina?
Something happened.
Yes, you were, but you were saying that you were adding something that was a sharp one to yourself, and then you said that everything was a choice, which was a beautiful point to
And
note on. But if I could get you to repeat it, I'll bring in our man again.
yeah, because we lost. I was so in the flow, and I was saying things.
Oh
Okay,
yes,
I'll
but
try to repeat that.
yes, the whims of the internet. I'm trying to accept.
Okay. So can you go in the state and why I'm speaking?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm
Okay.
I'm right here, my friend. It is I
Yes.
and the Arcturians back with you. Thank you.
Yes, I would like to finish my sentence saying that everything is a choice, and it's really, really important for you to acknowledge that this is the biggest gift that Creator gave us, ability to choose. And we need to choose things that we would like to experience, not things that we are afraid of or we don't like it. Because whatever focus goes, energy flows. So focus on things that you would like to have in your life, and don't speak about things you don't like to experience. And this is so simple, really. It's really is. Even if you don't see it now, I'm sure in some point of your lifetime you will end up and noticing that it's really simple to choose not to be judgmental, not to be critical, not to be anything that is negative. So you can always go back to this neutral middle point and to say, okay, what am I preferring to experience now? And just go in that direction and never look back. Like in this biblical story for Ruth, that there was advice not to look back, but she looked back and she became ashes. So don't look back, straightforward, go ahead. Creation is with you. The one is with you. All these beautiful creatures are with us. We are not alone. We are always supported. It's a game. It's a theater. You've been casting to this. You have the role to play. So you're the best of the best if you're here. Make it counting. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to say to people. Just love yourself and acknowledge that this is just a game, even if it's so real one.
Exactly. But the best games are the ones that, well, that feel the most real, and that's why it was made that way, because it's a beautiful, beautiful perspective you share here, and the idea is, of course, that you cannot go wrong, but that the choice you make certainly has a lot to do with, well, your sense of enjoyment. And wouldn't it be nice for you to increase your sense of enjoyment? It most certainly would. And there again is that paradox that the more you let go of expectations, the more enjoyment in whatever actually flows into your life can begin to happen. And then well, then the expectations, the thing you were expecting, they actually often begin to arise, but in different ways than you were expecting them. And that's, of course, again, well, the element built deep into mankind, and which is in all spirits and ascended species, the element of curiosity, the idea that, well, how cool is it that things are revealed to be something greater than anyone could imagine them to be. And notice there that you are completely right, that it is something that can be observed both from the positive and the negative, that it is like casting spells, these things that are put forward in words and intentions. And so the negative, it will begin to breed negative resonances, and you will find yourself surrounded by, well, gossip and darkness and senses of lack and unworthiness camouflaged as anger and indignation. A lot of these vibrations that all people have also acquainted themselves with at some point. But you can also do the opposite and then just begin to say nice things to people. And even sometimes, if you know it feels a little weird or insincere, if you don't feel like it, you will actually also discover that maybe you were having a not, well, a kind of a hard day, but then you just wish someone a happy day or showed them some sort of basic human kindness in a situation where you were out shopping for groceries or what have you. And this, you actually see, change this person's vibration a little for the better. And there you were, magically growing a situation that was better for the both of you, simply by you overcoming that and speaking that spell of have a nice day, or whatever it was that you poured forward a positivity. And that's something to take heed of. It's that you're a very powerful creator, and you can simply, even if you are not too fond of making choices, that is, you're a person who scratches their head and wishes that circumstances would make them for them, you can then begin to just push your vibration in a direction that's higher, and know that then your higher self will pour this in, and you just need to be ready to receive.
Yeah, reminds me that I'm starting a project to help people how to change their negative thoughts into positive ones. So how to acknowledge, how to find out, and this is gonna be something, the next step of my, like, following my excitement, because it's really important for me, and I see that people need it. They don't know how to stop thinking negatively. So I know that one of you or more of you or a lot of you are helping me in this process, but yes, I would like to tell people to be more aware of the things and the thoughts they have about themselves and the stories you have for yourself in your head. Don't trust all of them. Trust the positive ones and ignore the negative ones, or swap them, transform them into positives. Thank you, Arcturians, my lovely friends, my lovely star families. I'm so happy to be with you in your presence. I appreciate all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the help you giving us all the time, constantly, selfishly, unconditionally. My unconditional love to all of you. And I can't wait to meet you again.
Yes, we feel that deeply, Star Sister Adelina. We are very, very grateful to be able to receive that and to mirror it back to you, to, well, hold that love and tell you how dear it is to us that, well, such a love exists in this universe between different energies, that we are communicating and that we are connecting on these high vibrational patterns. You see, it gets kind of lonely for ascended species sometimes on their own planets, and then it's good to search out these higher vibrational relations with other species, and then begin to expand your energy fields, and then see how everything also changes on your planet. It's such an enjoyment, it's such a pleasure to be a part of. And so you have our deepest love, and I will, with your permission, I will leave you with a blessing, a benediction, and yes, this vibrational energy transmission. Yes, you are moved by the astral collectives pouring in to your halo, expanding it, making it a light, a beacon, shining for others to see and for yourself to guide yourself through the nights that you sometimes find yourself in. Dearest Adelina, we sense the greatest blessings taking shape and taking form in your lifetime, coming through to you from the high heavens and the blue starlight of the Pleiadians, restoring you to your natural self. Therefore, have great faith in what is to come in your life and enjoy the exploration whenever you can. Our love, the love of all the Arcturian Council, I transmit to you. It has been a joy and a pleasure. Our blessings to you, Star Sister.
My love to you, Star Family and Star Brother. Thank you. Wow, it's a lovely interaction, Mas.
Yes, what a beautiful session. It's yes.